It's Alberta Impact with Bryce Lambert. Tonight, Bryce welcomes Catalina Vasquez with Colin Corus. Featuring musical guest Dahlia Grace Wakefield with Alan Timoducha. And now, from Edmonton, Alberta, it's Bryce Lambert.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. My next guest today is from Nanostics. Nanostics Inc. is a medical device and biotechnology company who has developed a non-invasive diagnostic platform with its lead detection in prostate cancer. This is some revolutionary stuff. Representing their company today, we have Catalina Vasquez, who is the Chief Operating Officer, and Colin Corus, who is the Chief Commercialization Officer. Welcome to the show, guys. So first off, Catalina, we'll start with you. You used to be the director of the Alberta Prostate Cancer, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So can you tell us how you kind of got involved with something like this?
Yeah, so I was, originally I was working in London, Ontario, managing some clinical trials, and then Dr. John Lewis recruited me to come to Edmonton to lead the Alberta Prostate Cancer Research Initiative. The main goal was to support and facilitate research that will lead to the development of new blood tests for prostate cancer that are less invasive and more accurate than what is currently available.
Gotcha.
So I worked at the Prostate Cancer Research Initiative, and we established what is now the largest prostate cancer biobank in the world, where over 3,800 men have been recruited. They have very generously donated their time, their blood, and the clinical information that we're now using to develop a new test for prostate cancer.
That's fantastic. And Colin, how about yourself? How did you get involved in the field?
So my background, I have a PhD in biochemistry and an MBA degree in biotechnology. I'm a former CEO of a genomics company in town. We sold that recently, and I've been working with Nanostics since we first identified the technology as a potential commercialization, spun off the company, and we've been rolling ever since.
That's awesome. So how did Nanostics kind of all come to be?
Yeah, so through the samples from the Alberta Prostate Cancer Research Initiative, we distributed some of those samples to Dr. John Lewis, who is the chair of the Alberta Prostate Cancer Research Initiative, but also happens to be the CEO of Nanostics. And then his group developed what we call the Clarity DX prostate test. And then for us to be able to further validate it and commercialize it, we spun off Nanostics out of the University of Alberta.
Gotcha. Okay. So now, if it detects prostate cancer, it helps detect prostate cancer. You guys are in the clinical, not the trials. You were saying earlier, the clinical study. Yes. So can you tell us a little bit about what the clinical study is and how that process works?
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe first I'll tell a little bit about the test. So,
yeah, absolutely.
The test is actually quite remarkable. What we look at are tiny little cancer particles that are in their blood. And this is a whole new area of biology in which we're now identifying that these particles act to communicate between cells and tissues. And what we've done with the Clarity DX prostate test is we've identified prostate-specific biomarkers on these particles, and using a new technology, we can look at that. And we did this with the prostate cancer repository. We looked at patients with prostate cancer and without prostate cancer, and we were able to identify a fingerprint of disease. And now, currently, we're in clinical study here in Edmonton in partnership with DynaLife Labs, and we're at the beginning of a 2,800 patient clinical study to show that our test actually works in the real world in a clinical setting.
So I guess you just said like in the real world. So what does this kind of mean? Like once you guys' study is done and it's looking like it's proving to be pretty positive and that this is working really well, what does this kind of mean for the medical community? Like, and how we go about detecting prostate cancer, like in early signs and whatnot?
So you want to? So, so first of all, prostate cancer is one of the leading causes of cancer-related deaths, and it's really heartbreaking because if we can diagnose prostate cancer early enough, we can cure the disease.
Right.
And so in Alberta, for example, and across North America, we have very rigorous screening programs, which involves getting a PSA test, which is a simple blood test, which can indicate whether someone has prostate cancer or not. But the problem with the test is 80% of the people that have elevated levels of this PSA marker don't have any prostate cancer.
Gotcha.
And 90% of them don't have the kind of prostate cancer that needs treatment, which can result in biopsies. And biopsies means you have to get 12 needles taken out of your prostate, and to get there you have to go through the rectum, which can lead to all kinds of side effects such as sepsis and whatnot. So what we're trying to do is reduce the number of biopsies we have to do.
Right.
And so what our trial is set up to do is to show that if we use Clarity DX as a Clarity DX prostate test, that we can reduce the number of biopsies, cut them unneeded biopsies in half.
Gotcha.
And that's
So now, is this helping us avoid the traditional methods of testing?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, that's a bummer. Okay, well, I guess, we can't have everything, but I mean, it's great that this is coming right here out of Alberta again, right here in Canada. That's fantastic. Tell us about some of your partners. So you partner with DynaLife. Have you worked with anybody else? Like, where else is this reaching out to right now?
Yeah, so this is a true Alberta story. So it all originated thanks to a man called Frank Sejonki, who was shocked at the idea of not having an embedded prostate cancer research program in Alberta. So he partnered with what he called the Bird Dogs and the Alberta Cancer Foundation to provide the initial funding for this initiative to take place. Okay. So those were our original groups. However, further on, we got the funding from the Prostate Cancer Prostate Cancer Canada, Movember, Motorcycle Ride for Dad, and Alberta Innovates, among other groups.
Okay.
And that helped us embed clinical research coordinators in the biggest clinics in Alberta for prostate cancer, which it was great for us to be able to tap into in the two main clinics where more than 90% of the patients diagnosed with prostate cancer are seen. And those clinics are the Northern Urology Center in Edmonton. Sorry, can we cut?
No, keep going. No. We're live, baby. No.
You're killing
So right
me.
here in Edmonton. No, that's fantastic.
Okay, so let me rewind a little bit. So more than 90% of patients that are diagnosed with prostate cancer are done in two clinics.
Okay.
One in Edmonton, which is the Northern Alberta Urology Center, and one in Calgary, which is the Southern Alberta Institute of Urology, that also has a research center called the Prostate Cancer Center.
Gotcha.
So those are our main partners, and that's where most of the recruitment took place.
Right.
We also partnered with the Cross Cancer Institute and the Tom Baker Cancer Center to recruit those patients.
Gotcha. And again, that's all right here.
All in Alberta.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all right there, and all the samples for our clinical studies are being done in the DynaLife facilities in downtown Edmonton.
Wow.
And so the goal is to prove the test, and then we're going to be able to offer that directly to men, hopefully in the next year or so.
So what are the steps after the test is proved? Like, what are the steps after that? How do people get access to this, and how does it carry forward?
So we've already had great conversations with the FDA and Health Canada.
Yeah.
They believe that the clinical trials we set out are good, and if they live up to expectations, which they're looking like they're going to, then hopefully in Canada at least it should become part of standard care. So you would still get a PSA test,
Yeah.
and then if it's elevated, you would automatically get the Clarity DX test, and that information would go back to the doctor. So hopefully nobody will have to make that decision, and it will just be part of a new paradigm of prostate cancer screening.
Gotcha. So is there a place that people can go to find out more about this? Like, where would they go if they want to hear more? Read more?
Absolutely. Well, you can go to our website, www.nanosticsdx.com,
Okay.
or contact us, and more than willing to have conversations about and tell you about other people about our technology.
Right on. And I'm sure it's not always the greatest conversation. I know people, especially men, are really tight, step back when it comes to prostate cancer, but it's something that's really important, and everybody should be going out and getting addressed and getting checked for on a regular basis. So I want to thank you guys so much for coming in and sharing this story with us. This is super cool. And to hear that that's, again, another big opportunity that's coming out of here in Alberta is fantastic. Another technology and breakthrough, for this kind of thing. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining us today and sharing your story with us. Yep. Coming up next is a musical performance by Dahlia Gracefield, so don't go anywhere, as we'll be right back after a break.
million faces. It's so hard to find what you're looking for, but I've seen them before, and I'll see them again. It's all just a question of where and when, and I will discover one day. Attraction, send chills up and down my spine. Traces of you imprint my mind, yet vanish with the breeze.